Good morning. Welcome to Reading the Science of Mind in 1 year. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the Center for Spiritual Living Common Ground in Central Maryland. Today is May 23rd. And so what we do is we listen to the reading, we share perspectives on that, we do a 5-minute meditation practice, and then we close with a spiritual mind treatment. So let's get started.
Reading from May 23rd, Science of Mind, A Philosophy of Faith, A Way of Life by Ernest Holmes. Reading from page 456, paragraph 3, through page 458, paragraph 2, using inclusive language.
As little children, Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. We must become as little children. How we long for a return to that simple trust in life which children have. In their minds there are no doubts. They have not yet been told that they are sinners, destitute of divine guidance and spiritual life. The life of the child is lived in natural goodness. God is natural goodness. The prison walls of false experience soon build themselves into barriers, shutting out the light, and the child grows into an adult, often losing their sense of that inner guide, leading their footsteps aright. We must return the way we came, as little children who know that life is good and to be trusted. We are to approach our problems as though they were not. Approaching them in this manner, they will vanish. Let not the materialist deny us this right, nor the unbelieving cast any reflection of their blindness before our eyes. There is a wisdom and a power not of the flesh, which springs perennially from the inner life, all powerful and all wisdom. Whatsoever ye bind on earth, Matthew chapter 18, verse 18. Next we come to a passage difficult to understand and one which has caused confusion in many minds. Whatsoever ye bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. A superficial reading of this passage might lead one to suppose that this earth provides the last chance for the salvation of the soul. But this is not the meaning of the text, which implies that the experience of death cannot change all. As a person has lived on earth, so they will continue to live after death. If they have been pure, they will continue to be pure. If they have been otherwise, they will continue to be otherwise. False experience will continue until the lesson is learned, until the soul turns from that which hurts to its greater good. The spirit of a person is of like mind to the Spirit of God, and it is impossible for the Spirit of God to remain in darkness. The next life is a logical continuation of this one and could not be otherwise. Divine forgiveness, Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 and 22. In the next passage, Jesus clearly explains the meaning of divine forgiveness. He says that we should forgive until 70 times 7. This is but another way of saying that forgiveness is eternal and ever available. What a load is dropped from the shoulders of personal responsibility when we realize that the eternal mind holds naught against anyone. But to those who feel that this is unfair, it will be a hard saying. What, says one? Are not my virtues to be rewarded above those who have none? O foolish one and blind, what do you know about virtue? Has your life always been beyond reproach? Have you never fallen short of the divine calling? Who are you to point the finger of scorn at another person? The one who feels self-righteousness rise from their petty virtues lives a life of self-delusion. Know this: virtue does not know it is virtuous, and could it know, it would immediately become vicious. Virtue is sweet as the morning dew, soft as the evening star, and brilliant as the noonday sun. Could the dew tell why it is sweet, the star say why its light is soft, or the sun say why it shines? When we learn to put away our petty virtues with our petty vices, then shall we see clearly, not what either virtue or vice is, but what truth is. The mind which condemns understands not the truth of being, and the heart which would shut the door of its bosom to one who is mistaken strangles its own life, closing its eyes to a greater vision. The biggest life is the one which includes the most. Not that we foster vice or place a premium upon wrongdoing, but that we understand the frailties of human nature and learn to overlook much. To the person who loves much, much is forgiven.
Okay, got some juice there, huh? Um, the first reading there about little kids, what comes up for me is the innocence of childhood curiosity. Um, and that's something that I seek to return to allow myself to be curious in the way that I see kids be curious. Right? They genuinely want to explore things, want to know about things, that what's this and what does it do? And, I want to continuously return to that, not just about things around me, but about people around me, right? What makes you you? What makes you tick as an individual? How are you different from me? Not separate from me, but different. How do you think? How do you feel? What lights you up? Right. And so the only way I have found to be in that curiosity is to engage with people beyond the task oriented engagement, beyond the exchange of stuff, to live relationship before content, right? To actually, you know, to be more excited to hear who you are than for you to hear who I am. Uh, it's sometimes a challenging way to live because sometimes, if I'm telling the truth, in that curiosity, I find out things about people that I can't erase, and oh, I wish I could. Um, and that's okay because then I get to remember that, you know, none of us is our behavior. None of us is our thoughts. Our thoughts are how we move our experience along in this thing called life. And all of that is changeable. Who I am is not my behavior. And who you are is not your behavior, right? Um, but it takes some navigation to get past the behaviors to who somebody is. And I think that's covered in the section on divine forgiveness. And that line, what, says one, are my virtues to be rewarded above those who have none, is very telling, and it is very much where a lot of us live. And that mentality of separation, um, and more than separation, a mentality of a hierarchy where we place ourselves above other people. And sometimes the only way we can get ourselves above other people is by belittling them, right? Um, I would submit to you that everybody has virtue, some more visible than others, some more recognizable than others, some more in alignment with what we hold as virtue, and some have virtue that we haven't considered as virtue. And each of us have blind spots where we could be more virtuous, right? Um, the biggest blind spot that we could be more virtuous is if we've ever had any any activity of that sentence operating in us that what are not my virtues to be rewarded above those who have none. Those places where we think we're special, those places where we think we are more than or above, we're operating in duality. We're all made of the same stuff. So we are all fundamentally at the level of creation, equal value. And from there, we get to choose, and we choose and we choose again. And I'm pretty sure, if we're being really honest, we've all made some choices that we go through life hoping nobody else ever finds out about because we're not particularly proud of those choices, right? And I submit to you that this whole forgiveness thing perhaps begins by forgiving yourself for those times. Any of those moments that you're holding that you hope nobody else ever finds out about, no matter how big or how small it is an opportunity for forgiveness. And when we forgive ourselves first, then we're able to forgive others. Um, I'm thinking of that line in the Lord's Prayer: forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So there's, even in that, there's a reciprocity. There's a reciprocity. And I will tell you from personal experience that practicing forgiveness as a primary mode of life is so incredibly freeing. So freeing. Because when we live the practice of forgiveness, resentments aren't an option. And when resentments aren't an option, holding grudges, that resentments with a different name, we don't walk through life angry to be here and angry that other people are here with us. Right? It lowers physiologically, lowers your cortisol level, lowers your blood pressure. It does a lot of really healthy things in our body to practice forgiveness. So I highly recommend it. And I will close with this. Forgiveness does not mean we're okey doking somebody's behavior. That's not what it means. It simply means people have safe passage through our mind. That when you think of somebody, they just move through your mind. Imagine they're walking through with, and they get safe passage through your mind, safe passage through your heart. And sometimes, beloveds, there are people who have deeply, deeply hurt us in this physical realm. And I will tell you, the greatest forgiveness that I have ever accepted is the apology, is the amends that I so deeply deserved and I'm never going to get. Doesn't mean I can't accept it. And with that, let's go into our time of meditation and contemplation. one power, everywhere present, love, everywhere present, manifesting itself in form, expanding its experience of itself as creation. One substance, self-existent, meaning made out of nothing. It simply has always existed. It is that substance out of which everything is made. And so everything that is made must be this one love expressing itself in form. By whatever name we know this one to be, it is more than even the name we give it. Because the names are finite and it is infinite. A name limits the limitless. Unbounded, pure potential, infinite possibility, continuously expressing itself by desire to experience. I am that in form. And what is true of me is true of all creation. In the reality of one, I can never be separate from any expression of creation. And so I recognize that to forgive is to forgive. And the reality of one, to forgive one is to forgive all. And so I claim and affirm forgiveness as the activity and order that frees each and every expression of the infinite from the bonds of condemnation. That grace is the activity of creation, not a grace that excuses, but a grace that loves, even though. Even though. A love that surpasses understanding and loves, even though. So I claim and affirm an awareness within each and every expression of life, that each is exactly that. Life in the whole, life, the capital L, one life expressing, individualized, that there is an awakening and awareness of that reality operating in each and every expression of it. That it is a glorious recognition, that it is a recognition of hallelujah. And as quickly as that is recognized, the whole is recognized. And as the whole is recognized, separation is no more. Even the concept of separation is no more. And in that, there is a return to that childhood curiosity, that childhood innocence of exploration. What a beautiful, beautiful world I see, where every expression of life shares the unique, authentic desire of creation that is them to explore, to express, and to be something greater than we can imagine being in the limitations of our human thinking. We allow ourselves even to be curious of ourselves. What more is here for me to see in me? What more is here for me to be as me? Even saying it, I feel the excitement of it arise within me. I am which thou art which I am. What a mighty field to explore. And I am grateful. Grateful for the activity of law. It simply makes it so. It simply receives that desire, moves consciousness into form, moves the substance to express. It is already done. Just as quickly as the words are formed in mind and expressed in word, it is done. And so the human me can let go, can get out of the way. So I release all doubt, all hesitation, and step fully into that innocence of inquiry, that curiosity, that insatiable, I want to know God as you, God as me. I let go and I let it be. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you.